Yo guys, it's Vin. Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the difference between Platinum and Diamond players. This is all mainly coming from my experience, and I'm actually going to finish off the video talking about my story and how I got to Diamond. But mainly I'm going to be talking about things like playstyle and kind of things that you can abuse on your way up to Diamond. Maybe not abuse, but things you can keep in mind. And I'm not really going to be talking about meta that much because, you know, people who watch this in the future, if they do, it's really not going to apply to them. The meta changes so drastically between patches sometimes. So anyway, the first thing I really wanted to talk about is the difference between Platinum and Diamond is really not that much, at least between high Platinum and low Diamond. If you're a fresh 1700, the difference between you and a Diamond player is going to be quite a bit. However, the difference between, let's say, a 1950 and a 2000 Diamond player, it's really not that much, because a lot of people think that once you get Diamond, you're finally good at the game. Well, whether you're good at the game or not doesn't really matter, and of course it's not my say. You're the one who really has to judge whether you think you're good at the game or not. But objectively, the difference between that is really just a few wins. Just because you gained that 50 elo to breach from high plat into low diamond doesn't really make you that different of a player. You're probably going to have the same strengths and weaknesses. The main thing that changed is your mentality. And the significance of this difference in mental is that I think that's why hitting a rank for the first time is so difficult. Going from plat to diamond for the first time may seem like an extremely hard, I mean, it is a really hard feat going for the first time. However, once you finally reach diamond, I feel so much more comfortable in ranked. I don't really have as much pressure as before, and I think that's a big part of Platinum versus Diamond is the weight that's like burdened on you to hit that rank, especially when you're so close like 1950. It can be extremely stressful being right at the edge, knowing that you could be in Diamond in just a few games, but at the same time, if you lose a few games, you're at 1900 now, and the cycle continues. I'm not going to dwell too much more on mental game, but just know that it's extremely important for improving, having a healthy mindset, making sure that you're calm in between ranked games, making sure that you're not taking the game too seriously. I mean, I know it's great to win, but it's unhealthy to be playing this game for hours and hours and hours every single day, and the whole time not really enjoying it and just trying to hit that 50 elo so you can get a border. I don't personally think that's very healthy for your mental. But anyway, I think that's enough mental game talk for today. I'm going to be making a much larger video talking about the mental warfare of Brawlhalla later down the road, but anyway, that's for the future. I want to talk about more tangible subjects now, which you probably all want me to talk about more anyway, but this includes playstyle and the kind of habits that I noticed that Platinum versus Diamond players have. And now, I know I just said that the difference between high Platinum and low Diamond really isn't that much, which is I still stand by. However, I do notice that as you get into 1900, you're not only queuing against other 1900s, but also Diamonds and even 2100 players. One of the main things that I noticed that these 2100 players and even just regular Diamond players had that the Platinums didn't have were they were punishing me a lot more severely. I noticed that in Platinum, this may just be because of mental. This may allude back to my mental game tips where there's so much pressure on the Platinum players. I noticed that a lot of the people would, when I don't have a dodge, they wouldn't maximize their punishes. They wouldn't be building as much damage as I was because they weren't playing as confidently. There comes a risk with going for big strings and big damage. And in my opinion, it's really not the best, especially in certain scenarios like trying to make a comeback, to make big plays, to go for these huge, risky options. However, when you know your opponent doesn't have a dodge, I don't see a reason to back off. You have him on the ropes already, why not push it even more? Because the more damage you build on your opponent, that's just so much more momentum you can build both in-game and mentally to eventually close out the win. And when I reached 1900 and was queuing into 2000s and 2100s, I noticed when I wasted my dodge, I would get pummeled. Like, it was crazy. And I noticed that these players were playing super confidently. They weren't running at me in terms of, okay, of course everybody has their mistakes. Everybody over-aggresses every once in a while, and some of us do quite a bit, including me. But there was just a completely different vibe between me fighting another Platinum versus someone who has already reached Diamond. I think it mainly boils down to the fact that the Platinums were playing way too passive. They were playing super scared, and I think that's something that if you can shake out of your system, of course everyone's going to be nervous. I was super nervous going into my final games to Diamond, at least relatively speaking. But if you can kind of shake off those nerves and learn to play with confidence, I know I've already talked about this in one of my other videos about reaching Diamond, but seriously, if you're playing so passive to the point where at least you're not getting hit, that's your mentality, but you're also not going to be able to build damage, which is the main thing that wins in Brawlhalla. It doesn't matter how passive you are, it doesn't matter that you can extend a game going to 7 minutes. What really only matters is, can you kill your opponent 3 times? And I think a lot of Brawlhalla players forget that, especially in Platinum. I mean, I face so many people who, I swear to God, they would literally not even try to attack me. They would run around the map and try to push an overtime, to the point where they're not building damage at all. And since I'm the one actively trying to hit them, and they're so worried about not getting hit, I'm basically getting chances to hit them for free. So by the time I would take a stock, not even against just these players, but people who are super passive in general, by the time I take their first stock, they're the ones on the ropes and they have to come to me, which pushes mistakes out of them. In my opinion, this is super important. Playing passive is good, and playing patient is even better. There is a big difference between them. And I do believe that playing passive is the general meta of Brawlhalla. Of course, defending is a lot safer than attacking, but at the end of the day, what really matters is, can you kill your opponent, right? And I feel like the people in Diamond are actively trying to chase that, and whereas the people in Platinum are really just scared of losing. And I think this comes down to mental game factors. And of course, not everything I say should be taken to heart. Like I said, everybody has a different story, and something I say may not work for you, and you may not agree with it, and that's perfectly fine. Anyway, the last thing I really wanted to talk about was my experience reaching Diamond. I know this really doesn't fit the title of the video, the difference between Platinum and Diamond, but I think it's important to know because some of these things I feel like you guys on the climb need to hear. One of the big things is, like I said, everybody has their own story, and with that, everybody improves at different rates. It took me 900 hours to hit Diamond in Brawlhalla. And that's not 900 hours total. That is like 900 hours of in-game time, not even accounting all my time in training mode, labbing the game. Of course, I lab the game a lot for YouTube, but that's besides the point. And something that made me put a lot of pressure on me, even more pressure for me to do it, was YouTube. And I'm not blaming you guys or anything. I love all of you guys. I love doing YouTube, and this was a good motivator. And on top of that, my friend Korai, shout out Korai, best brawlhalla player, but he hit Diamond before me, and he did it in less than 400 hours, which I think that's crazy. I know I've already talked a little bit about this before, but I want to talk about it again because I think that this is one of the main differences between Platinum and Diamond players, and what separates you between having that Platinum border and having that Diamond border. I know it's easier said than done, but you should never feel insecure about being a Platinum player in Brawlhalla. You should never be insecure about being a Gold player in Brawlhalla. Your rank doesn't tell everything about you in this game. It barely tells you anything, in my opinion. I saw this report on Brawlhalla rank statistics. Out of like the 3 to 4 million Brawlhalla players who played ranked in Season 20, the top 1% is like 1740 elo. So I'm sure, if you are on the verge of Diamond, you are already well within the top 1%. In my opinion, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that's awesome. Again, I know it's easier said than done to not care about your rank. I mean, I care about my rank. I think everybody cares about their rank deep down. But what I'm really trying to say is, don't let your rank determine who you are. And I know this really delves into mental game things. I'm going to talk more about this again in that video in the future, but just for now, as a little tidbit, just try your best to not think about the elo. I think that's one of the main things that separates Platinum versus Diamond players, is the mentality that I've already made it. When in reality, it's not just Diamond players who have already made it. It's the Platinum players too, on the verge of hitting Diamond. Now, you may say, of course, they don't have a border, so yeah, they technically haven't made it, which is true, but like I said before, you're not really that different of a player just because you have that Diamond border. It's just the mentality. And I think it's important to realize that no matter where you are on the grind to Diamond, you're in a good spot. If you're playing ranked a lot, if you're playing the game a lot in general, and you're actively trying to improve, I wholeheartedly believe that you can hit Diamond. And it doesn't matter how long it takes you. It could take you 900 hours, like me. It could take you less than 400, like Korai. It could take you 2,000. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're trying your best and actively working to get Diamond, and of course, having fun, I think that's awesome. Anyway, I know I kind of talked about a bunch of different things in this video. It may not have been what you were looking for, but personally, me talking from just my experience really isn't that significant, at least when it comes to playstyles and meta. I mean, of course, everybody knows a Diamond player is supposed to be better than a Platinum player at basically everything. However, that doesn't really apply to the individual people you'll meet, and it certainly doesn't apply to specifically you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you took something out of this video. Again, I'm going to be working on a mental game video in the future. The script is very, very long. It's like 7 pages, and I don't want to give away all my secrets in this video, but this is a little sneak peek of what it's going to sound like. See you next time. Bye.